Hello, everyone. Welcome to Everything Arsenal. Let me know if you can hear me. The terrible week we were dreading has actually come true. 2 defeats in 3 days, exactly what we didn't need. But we've lost ground in terms of the Premier League, and we are out of the Champions League. I was watching the Man City game; they're also out. And let's be honest, we went out with a whimper. I was very happy with the first half. We'll do the match action and everything. Let me know what you guys made of the game. When it got to around the 30th minute, I was like, okay, looks like it's only going to be like one goal in this game. We have to make sure we score fast, because if they score fast, we're going to be in a bit of problems, because mainly they're going to counter-attack us, and they're going to defend well. They're going to add more defenders from the bench. I just knew. And in that second half, I think even if were playing the game up until now, like an hour after the game, I don't think we would have scored. Like, it was looking very unlikely we'd score. Like, we are not creating any chances at all. We couldn't string 2-3 passes at all. Now, I do agree, people. When you watch that game, you can just tell, like, yeah, we kind of a bit very far from the Champions League in terms of winning it. Like, the experience is not there, the passing, the fear, everything. Like, we couldn't string passes. We didn't know when to take a shot, when to cross a ball. We get a last-minute corner, decision making is off. So all that, you can tell we were definitely completely out. Now, I predicted Arsenal to finish in the quarter, to get knocked out in the quarterfinal of the Champions League at the beginning of the season, but I also predicted us to win the league. Let's hope we can still do that. And we've gone out in the quarterfinals. If we had gone through, we'd have been playing Real Madrid. Would we have beaten them? I don't think so, but I would have wanted to play them and see how far we are in terms of Real Madrid in the Champions League. But we are out in the quarterfinals, 3-2 to Bayern Munich. Not the thrashings we are used to from back in the day, but obviously it's not the Bayern Munich from the previous days. They are definitely there to be got to. So I would not be surprised if Real Madrid went and beat Bayern Munich 4-0. I would not be surprised. Like, Bayern Munich were not that great at all. In the first half themselves, we were dominating possession. We had more shots than them. We had better chances than them. They only had like one shot or something. And when you came to the second half, when Bayern Munich hit the post twice, you know what game I remembered? Aston Villa. I was like, oh no, the same thing happened against Aston Villa. Huh? Aston Villa hit the post a couple of times and the goal came eventually. And I was like, I'm hoping it's not going to happen today again. Eventually it came for them. And after they scored, they never looked like we were going to score. Now, let's be honest, I did not expect Arsenal to win the Champions League this season. I'm sure most of you didn't. I just really wanted us to get to the semi-final. I don't think we'd get like a better chance than this, because, FC Porto and then Bayern Munich that has been out of form completely. I was hoping it at least get to the semi-final. And then if we lose to Man City or Real Madrid, that is absolutely fine. But we've gone out in the quarterfinal, and it's been a terrible week. Now, we have 6 games to bounce back. I was hoping that we don't capitulate like we did last season. Now, by that, I mean, go and win every single Premier League game. If you win every single Premier League game and Man City beat us by 2 points in the league, I'd be able to live with that. But what I don't want is for us to go and lose again in the next game against Wolves, and then draw against Chelsea, and then by the end of the season we were like 8 points behind Man City. We don't want that to happen. So we have to hope Man City drop points and we focus on the league and hope that we win all 6 of our games. So it's not going to be easy, man. I was really hoping we wouldn't end the season like with a terrible week like this, or a terrible April, as well. People always say Arsenal drop off in April. For now, they're right, because we've lost to Bayern Munich and we've lost to Aston Villa, and both second halves in both of those games, we never looked like we were going to score. The Aston Villa game and today as well, absolutely terrible. Starting lineup, I was okay with the starting lineup. We'll do the starting lineup. Actually, let me just see what you guys are saying in the comments a bit, and then we'll go to the starting lineup, and I'll give you guys my thoughts on that. It was a fight fought by Warriors. Kudos to us. Let's focus on EPL 6 games. Listen, I'm not as mad as I was after the Aston Villa game. I'm sad about the performance that we never really even tried to score today. Saka was poor, Havertz was poor, Trossard and Jesus were terrible when they came on. All that is very true. I didn't expect us to win the Champions League. I'm still sad about losing to Aston Villa more than I am to Bayern Munich, because I didn't really expect us to win the Champions League anyway. But there's a way of going out, If we went out and let's say we went all the way to penalties and we drew 2-2 against them, then Bayern Munich eliminate us, I'll be able to live with that more. But going out in that kind of way without basically trying the entire second half, I don't even think we had a shot on target. That's why I don't really think we fought like Warriors. That's why I disagree. Better luck next one, says Aruna. Another sad day, says RK. Yep, back to back sad days. Very, very, very bad day to my team. Anyways, football. I still love my team. Watching you from Zambia. Yeah, obviously we still all love Arsenal, but we really need to bounce back in the Premier League and win all those 6 games. Now we have to. We have to. Man City have also gone now today, so maybe you can say they'll also focus a lot on the Premier League, and it's going to be very hard for us. There's that as well, but we are hoping they get a draw somewhere and we win our 6 games. Listen, if we win our 6 games and end up winning the league, I would not care about this game at all. I'll be very happy that Arsenal have. But if you go and then you lose to Wolves and then it's over with 5 games to go, then it will be terrible. Because if you don't beat Wolves, then it's over. That will be too much, too far away. It will be like 4 or 5 points behind Man City, and that will be too far away. So I'm hoping that we bounce back in the next game. But as of today, quite a terrible second half, man. And when Bayern Munich scored, this is the first time over the last 2 years, I felt like I don't see where the goal is coming from, because we are not really like creating a lot of chances or making 5, 6, 7 passes in a row. Sarko's not in the game. Martinelli is not in the game. Trossard Jesus came on. They're not in the game. Havertz is not in the game. Pretty much, this is another game where I'm watching, and yes, we lost, but I think Saliba and Gabriel are probably our best players again. They'd probably get like 6s and 7s, but the forward players, I don't know if it's a matter of experience or just being scared of the occasion or dropping off again in April. I don't know, but you can just tell like Saka is not yet built for that situation, and a few of our players are not yet built for that situation in terms of how we take our corners, decision making, and all that. We're a bit all over the place. Chokon says Arsenal is lazy. We need a goal poacher. I guess that's what you mean. We did our best to learn from it and move forward, says Raymond. I wish you had beaten Aston Villa. If you had beaten Aston Villa, I'd be able to accept this result more, knowing that you can still win the Premier League and we have still favorites to win the Premier League. But obviously, after losing to Aston Villa and then you lose to Bayern Munich, then the fear of, oh my goodness, are we throwing it all away again in April, starts creeping in again, and it becomes unbearable. It becomes very unbearable. Darlington says from Villa to Bayern, same mistake. I'll come to the rest of your comments. Let's take a look at the lineup that was fielded today against Bayern Munich. So this is what Atisa went for today. I didn't mind the starting lineup. Just wanted Rice to be moved back to the number 8 position, which he did. We had Tomiyasu coming in this time as we wanted. Tomiyasu, Gabriel, Saliba, and Ben White. I actually do think Tomiyasu did well for most of the game. And then in the midfield, Jorginho, Rice, and Odegaard. Again, no problem with that. Jorginho, Partey, wherever, just have protection for in behind Rice and Odegaard. And then up front, Saka, Havertz, Martinelli. Now, I decided to go with that. Absolutely no problem. You can bring in Trossard and Jesus. That is what I was thinking before the game. And on the bench, Ramsdale, Karl-Heinz, Zinchenko, Kivio, Partey, Elneny, Vieira, Smith Rowe, Trossard, Jesus, Nketiah, and Nelson. So that was our lineup. And in terms of controlling the game and not conceding too many chances and too many shots and too many goals the first half and being in the game until the second half, I think we did okay. I think I was expecting us to do okay, and we did okay because Bayern only came close to scoring like once, and we were like, listen, we got a couple of chances. Rice was kind of controlling the midfield. Jorginho was not getting exposed at all. The defense looked solid. Saliba and Gabriel are putting in blocks. Tomiyasu was only passed like once by Sané. The rest of it, he dealt with it well. And by halftime, let me go through how the first half went. We actually did create a lot of chances in the first half chances, some of them. Martinelli had a shot just outside the box in the 7th minute. Sané, around the 15 minutes, Sané had that long that went over Tomiyasu's head, and I was like, oh no, please, man. Let's not have a situation where Sané is dominating Kivio and then the next game is also dominating Tomiyasu, because who the hell are we going to put there if Tomiyasu is having a hard time against Sané? Who else are we going to bring off the bench? But I think after that, he started doing well. Musiala had the only shot on target for Bayern Munich in the first half. Raya dealt with it well. And then from that point on up until halftime, Odegaard was getting involved in the game. There were like 2-3 players around him. Whenever Saka got the ball, there were like 2-3 players around him. Havertz had a header just off target. Martinelli had a shot that was saved. I think he should have done better with it. Maybe take it to the right foot or in one side, instead of directly at the goalkeeper with one of the shots as well. Odegaard also had a shot saved. Ben White also had a shot. And we were definitely in the game. In that first half, just like Aston Villa, unfortunately, we were definitely in the game. And it was looking like if a team would score, it would be us. We were definitely in the game. But you need to score. Because if we score fast in that game, we probably go back to our defensive shape and Bayern Munich don't get a goal. But the moment it's like 50-50 or Bayern Munich go ahead, we're in a bit of problems. And when it got to halftime, I was okay with 0-0, but I was slightly worried. I was like, those 2-3 chances that Martinelli has got, Odegaard has got those chances to shoot the ball, and Neuer has made a couple of good saves. Are we going to regret it? And we had a warning 2 minutes into the second half. We had a warning 2 minutes into the second half. The same thing that Aston Villa did to us the other day. They hit the post, Goretzka hit the post, and then Guerrero hit the post with the same attack. And it was looking bad. It was looking like they would get a goal, but we still survived. 50 minutes gone. Jorginho still controlling the midfield. Yes, they were getting opportunities here and there, but looking at the bench and looking at our bench, I was like, listen, we can bring in Trossard like last time. We can bring in Partey. We can bring in Jesus. There's a lot of players to bring off the bench. And for them, they didn't really have too many players to bring off the bench, apart from maybe Mola and one more. They didn't really have players. Coleman is out, Gnabry is out. So I was hoping that our bench would be better than theirs. But they didn't have to depend on the bench. And from that moment on, from the 58th minute, I think you could see the experience. You could tell that is a team that has played the Champions League a lot of times, and we haven't. The game control, he lost the control. He became a bit desperate. We couldn't pass the ball 2-3 times consecutively. We were rushing free kicks, rushing corners. We started hitting the fast man with our corners. All that. Saka was not getting in the game. Trossard was not getting in the game. Can I say, by the way, I know I don't like talking about transfers right now, but we 100% need a backup for Saka, because like in the games, like the last 2-3 games, and he doesn't play well, we definitely need a backup. Because I was looking at that bench and I'm like, is there anyone who can come on even if Saka doesn't play well? You can't bring in Nketiah on the right, Nelson on the right. Do people really trust him in a game like this against Bayern Munich? I don't think so. That is the first signing I'd go and make. I know most of you are saying striker. I really want a backup for Saka. First signing, we need a backup for Saka. Someone who's maybe even competition, maybe even direct competition for him, because when he doesn't play well, when he doesn't turn up in the game, we're in a bit of problems. And today was another example. There's nothing else you can do. And the subs, I mean, right now you can even predict the subs. That's the one thing I'll say about Arteta. You can predict the subs. I knew it was going to be Trossard for Martinelli. I knew it was going to be Jesus for Jorginho. I knew those were going to be the subs, and I'm sure most of you have predicted that. And that is what he did, and it didn't make any impact at all. I would have been happy even if he tried whatever else, even if he's bringing in Smith Rowe again. I don't care, just anyone else, just something different. Maybe even remove Tomiyasu early on and go attacking early on. There's no difference with losing 1-0 and 2-0. This is not the Premier League. If you lose 1-0 or 2-0, whatever, you still go out. So I rather you just go for it in the last 30 minutes. If you lose the game, that is fine. If you end up losing 2-0, I don't care. 1-0, 2-0, no difference at all. But literally, I wrote all this down for the first half. All this was the first half. Second half, a blank, because we basically did. There was nothing that happened between the 60th minute to the 90th minute. We didn't have a shot at all. And the only thing that happened is Kimmich scoring. And we were too busy focused on Harry Kane. As you can see, the likes of Gabriel are too busy holding on to Harry Kane. And they forgot Kimmich is a player that can also go forward and deliver. And there's other players who can go forward and deliver. And they caught us with that cross in behind, basically in the middle of, I think, Tomiyasu and Gabriel and Saliba. And he nicked in with the header, and it is 1-0. And to be honest, there's still part of me that was hopeful that maybe if we bring in Jesus and Trossard, we can get something like last time. But part of me was also like, yeah, right now they can bring in Upamecano, Kim, and they can just shut out the whole game and win this game 1-0. And that is exactly what happened. We did not create anything at all. We tried Jesus on, Trossard on, Jorginho off, Martinelli off, Nketiah on for Tomiyasu. It didn't work. And the moment you get to taking out Tomiyasu and bringing in Nketiah and changing up we already got desperate in those last 5 minutes. And the chance of that working is very, very minimal. And we've gone out with what I'd say is a whimper. Even if we were there up to now, I don't think we'd have scored. So I usually do say I hate losing games like the one we lost against Aston Villa away from home and at home, where you miss a lot of chances. Even Liverpool in the FA Cup, you miss a bunch of chances and then the other team gets a goal. Those ones are usually very hard for me to take. Usually, if a team like your team doesn't do anything at all in the whole game and the other team deserves to win, I'm able to deal with that basically. Bayern did that today, but still, it's still not the best Bayern, and we had a few opportunities to get something from that game, just better decision makings, and they've gotten at least a 1-1 and 2 extra times. So it's gutting, man. It's gutting. I wanted us to get to the semi-final, and then if we lose to Man City and Real Madrid, fine. but you've gone out to the wimp. I know 3-2 is not the worst result in the world, but people will say, it's not the best Bayern Munich squad in years, and they still knocked us out once again. So, yeah, absolutely terrible. But well done to Bayern Munich. They beat us. You can tell they have the Champions League experience. We don't, and we are out. So we just have to forget about the Champions League and move back to the Premier League. That's the only thing remaining for us, and we have 6 games now. And now all of a sudden, when you lose to Aston Villa and lose to Bayern, all of a sudden, all of those games look hard. All of a sudden, Wolves away, looking like we're playing Real Madrid away. That Chelsea game at home, all of a sudden, I feel like Palmer can come and score 10 goals at our place. Like, you start getting worried about all of those teams. Bournemouth at home, Everton at home, Tottenham away, Man United away. I still feel if you win all of those 6 games, you're going to win the league. The problem is, I feel like Man City are going to drop points somewhere, but I'm also worried that Arsenal is going to draw somewhere as well. That is my worry. I know Man City are going to draw somewhere, but I feel like Arsenal are also going to draw somewhere. So if you win all of your 6 games, you win the league. So that is the challenge. You don't want to drop off again like last season. Let's not go and draw with Wolves and then lose to Chelsea back-to-back games, and then it's over and Man City are 8 points behind ahead of us with 5 games to go. We don't want that to happen. So we have to put this behind us. Terrible performance in the second half once again, just like the Aston Villa game. I'm also kind of worried about. There's definitely a few players I'm worried about. I did say. Nelson, I think, is going to leave. We never use him at all, whether we are down a goal or whatever. We just don't use him. I think he's definitely going to leave. Fabio Vieira is the other one. I think is definitely going to go. Like, we never bring him on at all. Now, there's another one that has emerged on that list as well. Thomas Partey. I thought he was going to come in today as well, and he didn't. So it's either 2 things. Either one, Arteta does not really trust him. He doesn't feel like we're going to need him in those games, and he doesn't bring him on. Or number 2, he's still worried about his injury, and he feels like he's not 100% yet. And if he comes on, he won't be 100%, or maybe he'll go off the injury again. And if that's the case, then you have to sell him, because if you're not using Partey, I don't know what's the need of keeping him. Because in a game like that, I thought he was going to start, and when he didn't start, I thought he was going to come on in the second half, and he didn't come on at all. He didn't use him at all. So worried about those players. I'm sure at least one of them is going to leave between Partey and Vieira. But yeah, disappointing result. I don't even know what to say. That's why I've put a poll on YouTube asking you guys, how do you feel? If you're watching on Facebook or X, how do you feel about that result? Are you just disappointed? You're just like, whatever, whatever. Or are you very, very like mad at this result and mad at that second half performance and very, very disappointed and angry? Or did you expect us to lose and you're not really bothered? How do you feel about that result? So let me see what you guys are saying. Let me come back to the rest of your comments. Okay, thank you for the super chat. She says, I pray we win all the other games. Thanks then for the live stream. It's going to be very hard, but I'm hoping we do. Now, in terms of the Champions League, thank you for the super chat. Okay, in terms of the Champions League, actually, this shirt, we've only won this one game with this shirt. We've lost, I think, all the others. So first of all, take this shirt away. The Champions League this season away from home, we've not been good apart from Sevilla away. Lens away, terrible. We lost. PSV away, PSV almost beat us. I know we had a rotated squad, but we drew the game. FC Porto away, we didn't do anything at all. We lost. And today as well, we didn't do anything at all in the second half. So pretty much out of the 5 away games we've had in the Champions League this season, 4 of them have been atrocious, terrible. Terrible, 4 of them. So, and if you compare that to the Premier League, away from home, we picked up a point at Man City, picked up a point at Liverpool, trashed West Ham, trashed Sheffield, trashed Burnley. So many others, there's so many other away games that we've won. You know what I mean? Like, only apart from Aston Villa and Newcastle, like all the other away games in the Premier League over the last 2 years, we've been able last season to beat Tottenham, Newcastle, all those guys. But you can tell we've just come to the Champions League, and away from home, we've not been able to handle the atmosphere. We've been not been able to handle all that, all the changes from the opposition managers and all that. We've not been able to handle that. So, yeah, that is the truth. We need a striker who can use 2 or 3 games, says Bright. I want Vinicius or Saka backup. I'd 100% take Vinicius for sure. Let's see. Ray, thank you for the super chat. Thank you very much. He says, holding Bayern to 1-0 is a superb result. Feel proud, Gunners, you are Champions League team. Ray is a Real Madrid fan. Ray is happy that they've gone through. Well done for knocking out Man City. I'm hoping all of us go out. Arsenal, Man City tomorrow, Liverpool, West Ham. All of us just go back home. I'd be able to live with that for sure. Congratulations, but hopefully you'll be back next season. I really just wanted us to get to the semi-final and play you guys and see how it would have worked out. But it's going to be disappointing. Again, it's going to be a very tough week. After that Aston Villa game, you try to get on YouTube and you try to listen to what people are saying, and you're just like, nah, man. Like, you just watch it for 3 minutes and you just get out. It's not a good place to be online. When Arsenal lose a game, it's not a good place to be. So terrible, man. Thank you for the super chats, Ake and Ray. I was wrong by keeping Partey on the bench, says Darlington. I agree as well. Now, I rewatched the Aston Villa game yesterday. I had said that the starting lineup and the second half lineup at such changes were terrible in the game against Aston Villa. And then I rewatched the game and I was like, yeah, I was not happy with Rice coming back to the number 6 position against Aston Villa and not playing Partey and Jorginho, or Jorginho, one of them. But then I looked at it, I was like, that first half, he had a lot of chances. We could easily have scored 1 or 2-0. So it was working. You could easily have scored. But the second half still, the moment Tielemans hit the post in that game, we should have brought in Partey or Jorginho to take back control of that game early. We didn't do that. Now, today, he went back to Rice as the number 8 and Jorginho starting, but he still took Havertz to the midfield position with 20 minutes to go. Now, you can see why he does that in terms of Havertz going forward and becoming a different attacker. So you basically have 4 attackers, but it's not worked. It's not worked, man. Let's stop using Havertz in midfield. It's not going to work. It's not working at all right now. If you're not keeping him up front, if you want Jesus and Havertz both on the pitch, play Jesus on the left and Havertz up front. And yeah, Jesus comes on and he also had a stink as well. So Darlington says, I never have interest in Kai Havertz. I was worried about us getting back to this position of Zinchenko this, Havertz that, Jesus this, Trossard that. I was hoping we don't get to that position because 1 month ago, everyone was praising all these players, and I knew if you lose a couple of games, it's going to be like that. But I cannot say you're wrong, Darlington. Today, absolutely terrible decision making, just work. And then just not involved in the game. Saka, Havertz, another game where our players have not been involved in the game in terms of the front line. Better keeping Jacques and sign one good right winger or a point striker than signing Kai Havertz. Despite losing the game, we played a good game, says Joshua. First half, yes. Second half, no. I'd still say in terms of controlling the game and defensively, we did well. Saliba was incredible today. Gabriel was putting in blocks and all that. Tomias did not get exposed by Sane like Kivio did last week. So in terms of all that, it was better. I don't think Raya made too many mistakes and all that. But in terms of forward line, it reminded me of the Liverpool game, a game where it just looked like we wouldn't score, either missing chances or just not creating anything significant. It's over for us. Let's focus on next and say Stanslers. Now, I'm not going to say it's over in the Premier League. We're 2 points behind. If we lose to Wolves, I'll join in terms of saying that. At why keeping Partey on the bench, I'm worried about Partey, man. I'm worried about Partey. As I said, it's one of the two things. It's either Arteta does not trust him anymore, or number 2, he's still not yet fit. And if he's still not yet fit to play even 30 minutes, then what's the reason of keeping him? Fortune says Havertz was asked today, he was poor at number 9. How comes at record Havertz at mid again while Partey's at the bench? Yeah, that was also weird because personally, if you're keeping Havertz up front, and then you're bringing in Trossard for Jorginho, and then you have a midfield of, I don't know, Odegaard, Trossard, and Rice still. I don't have a problem with that. And then you keep Havertz up front. I have no problem with that. But changing everything completely again and bringing Rice to the number 6, and then listen, when you have Rice in the number 8, if you're losing, the ideal thing is to take Rice back to number 6 and adding another attacker. That is the best thing to do. But you can do that without putting Havertz in midfield. Either take him off or you keep him up front and then you bring in someone else in midfield. Even if it means bringing in Smith Rowe, Vieira, whoever, just someone else, but not Havertz in midfield. The team mentality is one thing, especially when you're nearing the end of the season. I'm really hoping you're wrong, but the last couple of games is looking like that is the case. Okay, says that I was killing the game by himself. You have Partey on the bench and you need someone in front. You leave Havertz that is doing nothing in front. Tell him if he's still using this formation for 10 years. He was not talking of cap. Oh, okay, I get what you mean. You have many players on the bench that are better based on one formation. Try other if that one is not working and they're not paying. Ate is still a baby. He can never learn from this mistake. As a coach, he must have plan A and plan B using the formation. Says okay. We learn and you move on. Says Joseph. A non-gamer says right now even Olise Boy and Pedro Neto and even 16-year-old Yamal looks even better than Saka. That last corner annoyed the hell out of me. A non-gamer, it pissed me off completely. I was like, nah, everyone has gone for it. No, don't take such a bad con in the last minute, man. Today he had a shock. And now I don't know what to think about Saka in those games. He's still one of our best players, that is for sure. But in a game like this, you watch and you're like, sometimes I do see 2-3 players surrounding him, but if that is the case, we need to find a way to use that. If there's 2-3 players marking him, you need to find a way. There's definitely open spaces. If there's 2-3 players marking him, we're not taking advantage of that. But then you watch it and you're like, what is the problem? Is it that he just doesn't have the experience in this Champions League stage yet? We have to give him a couple of years, or because the FC Porto game, terrible. And if you watch the FC Porto game again away from home, Martinelli gives away the ball in the last minute and Galeno scores. Like such decisions, you're like, is it the Champions League experience they don't have? Or is it the case that people have always been saying, is he still tired? Is that the case? Or what's the matter? I just don't know. Or do you guys think it's is up with Saka? Because last couple of games is definitely... Last week against Bayern Munich, he was very good in the first half. He scored. I think he created a chance and all that. Aston Villa in the first half as well, around for 20-30 minutes, he looked okay. It was looking like if he'd score a goal, it was going to come from Saka or Odegaard on that right side. But some games, if you look at the last 10 games, like 5 of them is not being great. So we definitely need a backup for him. Pedro Neto will not be the one because Pedro Neto is always injured. I definitely love Olise at Arsenal, but even him has been injured a lot recently. I would definitely take Bowen or Yamal, but they would ask for like 200 million. Says the young coach will learn to stick with his plan rather than being pressured by fans. I know he is going to. I mean, most of it has worked because we've asked for some changes and he hasn't done them, and you're still in a good position in the league. But there's some that I feel like are a bit obvious, like not taking back Havertz to midfield and maybe bringing in Partey in midfield to regain control. I don't know what's the matter with that. Our midfield broke down in the second half, says Darlington. Satan says, for now, UCL Champions League quarterfinals are players standard. I actually think you're right. Looking at all of those games, in terms of home games, we were demolishing teams. Lens, PSV, Sevilla, we beat them at home as well. I think we played very well against Bayern Munich for most of the game until we started making those mistakes. FC Porto, yeah, it was a bit quiet as well in that FC Porto game. So overall, if you had to judge our Champions League this season, what would you give it out of 10, out of all of those games we played? I think 6-0 against Lens. Their away victory at Sevilla was a really good one. I was like, wow, if you can actually go to Sevilla and win the game like that and get a win from there in a very crucial moment, that is great. But since like the knockout stages, it's not good. Maybe you're just really cast in the Champions League. Maybe that is it, because we've not even made the semi-final since 2009. That is crazy. That's almost 20 years since the last time we were in the Champions League semi-final. Ajami says, once Ramsdale is unhappy that just decisions that Arsenal will never succeed. Nah, I think we moved on from Ramsdale. I don't really think Raya did it on today. He played Kai Havertz as a number 8 in his first 3 games and he did not get any results. Yeah, I was surprised because this year, the way we've been playing with Havertz up front and Rice in midfield and Jorginho, it's been working. We've been winning a lot of games. I was so surprised they changed that in the Aston Villa game. And today he went back to that. But then again, the last 30 minutes, he changed back. I know you have to take the gamble. I have no problem with you taking off Jorginho and taking Rice back to midfield. But if you want to keep Havertz on the pitch, play Havertz up front, leave him there and hope that he gets one chance or something. And then in the midfield, just do something else. Even if it means keeping Martinelli on the left and then playing Trossard as a midfielder for the last 20 minutes, just something different, because we did the same subs against Aston Villa and it didn't work. If you're serious, let Partey and Timber start in the next game. It's time to drop Kai, says Stansler. What happened with 5-6 goals winning lineup that we've been using? Defensively, we still have the same. Midfield, today we use the same that has been scoring 5-6 goals. But again, the problem is if someone like Saka does not deliver, and Odegaard was limping the whole game. It looked like, I'm hoping he's not injured, because if you take out Odegaard of that team now, we're in very big problems. If Odegaard gets injured, we're in very, very massive problems, because he's the only hope in terms of creating chances and all that, especially. The truth is, Martinelli has not had a good season. Last season, he was very, very good. This season, he's not had a settled season. He's been injured like 3 different times. He missed like a month back in October. I think he got injured against Everton, and then obviously got injured recently and missed like 6-7 weeks as well. He's not had a great season, Martinelli, on that side. Saka's had an up and down. None of them has really matched their last season's output. I think Odegaard this year from January has been really good. I thought Havertz from January up until March has been really good, but April again kind of disappeared. Rice was really good from January to March. Recently, he's not been putting up those 8, 9 out of 10 performances he has. Still, defensively, I don't really have a problem with the defenders. Yes, they made a mistake or two against Bayern Munich, but apart from that, I still think Gabriel and Saliba are still looking solid. Tomiyasu did okay today. Ben White is solid. Apart a few times, he does those stupid fouls they don't like. They're wasting time, all that. A bit terrible. But again, second half, Trossard came on, Jesus came on. They didn't really do anything, and he didn't really have anyone else to bring on. That is another of my worries. If things don't go well, who else do you bring on? Listen, it would be so great if we ended up winning 6 of our games and win the Premier League. I'll definitely forget about this Champions League, but I'm really praying that we don't go and then we lose to Wolves and then we drop off completely and go to third. That is what I'm really hoping doesn't happen. 4 out of 10 in terms of the Champions League, says a non-gamer. We played people who would get destroyed by other big clubs. Ajami says the negative emotional feelings in players on the bench are working on the team psychologically. The coach's decisions are too drastic. Fair enough, but there's some people who are saying that it's not drastic enough. Some people are asking for other players to be dropped as soon as possible. Some people are asking, like, change this. Why hasn't he changed this yet? What would be my starting lineup, my main team for the next 6 games? Defensively, I'd probably keep it the same as it was today. Midfield, just I don't have a problem with Jorginho, but let's see. Just bring in Partey for the next game, please. Let's see if Partey plays and he plays badly. Fine, we'll know that maybe there's a reason he hasn't been playing. But I think in terms of the passing and all that, we can mix it up. Partey, Jorginho, I don't mind who starts. Leave it like that. But play Partey or play Jorginho. Don't change it to Rice back to that position. Obviously, Odegaard has to start. Rice has to start up front. Listen, we can say start Saka for 4 games and the other 2 games play someone different, but we don't have anyone else. If you play Nelson, I don't think the manager trusts him at all. And the truth is, against Luton, one of the games, Nelson played and he was terrible. So we don't really have too many options. I don't know. I don't know what he would do. Maybe if you're playing Jesus, play him on the left side and let's not use him as a striker. Maybe if you're using Zinchenko, use him in midfield, stop using him in defense. I don't know, because now it's gotten to a point like we were back in October, where there's some people complaining about Zinchenko, people complaining about Jesus, people complaining about Havertz, people complaining about Saka. And remember, this year we've been doing really well. So I'm hoping they can go back to that. I'm hoping that has not just disappeared like this because of those losses. Let's go and win those 6 games. If Man City win all of their games, fine. If they beat us by 2 points, fine. But let's not capitulate and end up finishing third and finishing 8 points behind Man City. That is what I'm hoping doesn't happen. Darlington says a disgrace to our team. Our players will always leave and go on another team and win trophy. Let's hope that is not true. I think all of them are going to stay next season, but if we don't win something next season, then I'll be worried. I think you're right. If you don't win something this season and next season as well, then you start getting a bit scared. Because we've built a team that I feel like they really deserve to win something. Odegaard, Rice, Saka, and all those guys. It would be a disaster if in the next 10 years, we say, guys, you remember the team that we had back in 2023? My goodness, that was such a good team, but we didn't win anything. We don't want to say that in the next 10 years. We are hoping that in the next 10 years, we're like, listen, wow, we didn't win a trophy in the first season, but in the second season, we lost the Champions League, but we ended up winning the Premier League. And then in the third season, we won the Premier League again. And then we won a couple of cups. We won the Super Cup, all that. You need to remember your brilliant moments. But if you don't win anything, obviously people will forget about it. And that is something that we had back in 2007, 8 there. We had Fabregas, Adebayo, Van Persie, Rosicki, all those guys, Wilshere, and We reached a Champions League quarter-final against Liverpool and a semi-final against Man United, and we were top of the Premier League for majority of the times. We were battering teams left, right, and center. Van Persie was scoring goals. Fabregas was incredible, but we never won anything. So we forgot about all that. We forgot about how good of a team we had when you had a Xavi and Rosicki and those 4 goals we scored at Liverpool. We forgot about all that. We are hoping that we don't forget about that one as well. Hopefully we win something. I'm scared that Darlington could be right in terms of next season. If you don't win something as well, people start looking for other clubs, and I don't like that. I'm hoping you're wrong. Let's do the player ratings. It's not going to be a high player rating, let's be honest. But for the defenders, I actually think it's going to be Bayern Munich 1, Arsenal 0 player ratings. Let's start with Raya. I think Raya made a couple of good saves. I don't think he could have done anything better anyway. I don't think he was terrible. I don't think he made a mistake. I'm going to give Raya 6 out of 10. Salib, I think, was our best player today. I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. I think he made like 6 clearances or something crazy like that. A lot of tackles, a lot of interceptions and all that. I think he was really good. He looked comfortable on the ball. There's a couple of times I was like, clear the ball. Kane is right on you. And then you turn nicely and just give an easy pass. I think Saliba was great today. The goal, I'll need to rewatch it again and see who we can blame for that, really. Should we have not allowed the cross to come in fast? I don't know. Saliba, 7 out of 10. I also think Gabriel was okay, 6 out of 10. For the defenders were not bad. That's what is worse. It reminds me of the Newcastle game when you lost to them back in, I think, November or something, where we lose a game and then the defenders all get 7s and 8s because they didn't really do anything wrong. Gabriel, 6 out of 10. Tommy, yes, I think he dealt well with Sane, definitely better than what Kivia did last week. Did he make... I'll need to rewatch the goal again. But I think Tomiyasu was okay. Let me know if you agree with me. I think Tomiyasu was okay. I was very tempted to give him a 7. I think he dealt well with Sane, to be honest. 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10. I'm going to give him 6 out of 10, but maybe it should be a 7 because I think for most of the game, Sane was quiet, which is great because last week he destroyed us. Ben White, 6 out of 10 as well. Midfield, Jorginho, there's a couple of times he made some really good tackles, and I was like, yeah, this is really good, Jorginho. Again, I don't think Jorginho did anything wrong, really. I don't think he got exposed. I don't think they really lost the midfield battle against Lime and those guys. I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. Rice was making some good runs going forward. 6 out of 10 for him as well. I don't think it's like a 3 or 4, no? I think Jorginho and Rice, 6 out of 10. Odegaard as well, 6 out of 10. He was the one who was really trying. If you had to score a goal in the first half, it was looking like it was going to come from Odegaard, 6 out of 10. But the forward players, this is where now the ratings go low. I think the defenders were okay, but the forward players were way too quiet, man. Decision-making and all that, terrible. Saka was way too quiet. Even that time we were having shots in the first half and creating chances where Martinelli had a shot, Odegaard had a shot. I still didn't see Saka. And then the most annoying thing is what I think it was an non-game said, that corner from Saka in the last minute. I hated that. You can't do that in the last minute. Just take a corner. If Neuer saves it, fine. But when you take a corner and there's 10 players in the box and then you hit the first man, that is annoying. And I think he was extremely quiet. Now, part of it is because there are 2-3 players marking him. I agree with that. But again, decision-making and final product, it hurts me to give him this because we are used to giving Saka's and Martinelli's 9 out of 10 out of the last 2 seasons, but 4 out of 10 for Saka. Martinelli, he had a couple of shots in the first half. I think should have done better with the opportunity he had that he shot straight to Neuer. I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. Havertz, I'm going to do the same as Saka. Too quiet. And it's not even a case of, oh my goodness, Saka and Havertz missed a lot of chances. It's just a case of you disappeared. You just didn't do anything at all. 4 out of 10 for Saka and Havertz, 5 out of 10 for Martinelli. Jesus came on. I know it was offside, but that shot, man. I saw people laughing and I was like, Jesus, don't make them laugh at you. That really hurts me. When you do stuff like that, people start laughing and Arsenal have Jesus as a striker. 4 out of 10 for Jesus. I think he was really bad when he came on, to be honest. I think Trossard as well. Both of them. I think Jesus came on, he committed like 2-3 fouls. He got a yellow card. He missed that opportunity. Trossard as well came in, made like 2 fouls or something, slowed the game down. 4 out of 10 for Trossard as well after he came on. Ketia wasn't on for too long, just a 5 out of 10. We didn't bring in anyone else, right? Arteta. First half was really good. We handled the situation well. Many people, I saw some people predicting Bayern Munich 3-4. But it was not looking likely because we defended well in the first half. We kept the ball well. I didn't actually expect us to keep the position that much in the first half. We created a couple of opportunities, and the lineup was working in the second half. But the second half, when it gets to around the 55th minute, I think that's when you should make a couple of subs. The subs I would have made, I was asking for Jesus and Trossard to come on, so I'm not going to say, oh my goodness, why did they bring on Jesus and Trossard? No, I wanted Jesus and Trossard to come on because they came on in the first leg and they made an impact. But who comes off and how the formation changes is the problem. So I wanted Jesus and Trossard to come on, but I wanted us to keep Martinelli on the pitch. I wanted us to bring in Trossard in the midfield, take out Jorginho, take Rice back to a number 6 position, and then have Rice, Trossard, and Odegaard, and then have Martinelli on the left side, have Havertz up front, keep Saka on the right side. Give it 10 minutes. If it's not working around the 65th minute, change it again. So at that point, then you take off Havertz or you take off Martinelli, and then you bring in Jesus. And then Partey can also come on. That is another option. Partey is also another option who can come on in midfield. Partey is definitely another option who can come on in midfield. If you don't want to bring in Trossard in midfield, you can also keep Rice as a number 8, and then you bring in Partey for Jorginho just to change up things because Jorginho is already tired at that point, bringing fresh legs in terms of Thomas Partey. And he didn't do any of that. He took off Jorginho, took off Martinelli, brought in Jesus and Trossard, and at the end, Nketiah for Tomiyasu, and it was, I'm telling you, if you were playing that game for another 3 hours, we would not have scored a goal. It was not looking like you'd score a goal. We weren't like, Neuer made some 2 easy saves, and that was it. We did not create anything at all. We only had 3 corners at the end, and we didn't use any of them. It doesn't look, we aren't taking shots from outside the box. Martinelli was not penetrating on the left side. The only time is when Jesus went through. And that was the only time he got something, and he was offside anyway. That's another thing I said against Aston Villa. Jesus, the offside. We are being caught up offside too many times. Jesus, Havertz, Saka, too many offsides, man. Time your runs. Even Martinelli, when he came on against Aston Villa, time your runs. Too many offsides in this past few games. We've gone back to the October Arsenal, November Arsenal, and that is not what we've been seeing this year. So I don't know what the problem is. So Arteta, 5 out of 10. Good first half, second half, not great at all, terrible. So 5 out of 10. My man of the match, I'd probably say Saliba or Gabriel, one of them. We know Ramsdale is not the problem. Yep, I agree with that. He's called LOVE. If I may die with mental torture, no surprise that it's Arsenal. Yeah, you definitely grow older quickly when you support Arsenal, that's for sure. I'm worried about next season if you do not win anything this season, says Darlington. The thing is, you just have to keep trying. As I said, if we win every single game between now and the end of the season and Man City beat us by 1 point or 2 points at the end of the season, and we get to 89 points and Man City get to 90 and they beat us, then I'd say you have to keep on going because Man City is just a better team. You just have to keep on going. But where I would be worried, Darlington, is if we, out of the 6 games, we win 2, draw 2, and lose 2, and then we end up finishing 8 points behind Man City. That's when I'll be like, we dropped off again, man. So now there's that mental thing of even if you win every single game between August and April and March, you'll be like, yeah, but we know that when you get to April, you're going to lose again. We don't want that to creep in because this is something that people always say that we bottle things in April. We don't want that to happen. I'm just hoping we win all our 6 games because if you win all your 6 games, you win the league. But I don't want us to drop off. That's my worry. In terms of not winning the league, you just have to keep going. You just have to hope that you keep most of your players and then you get a backup for Saka, you get a striker. And then if that also doesn't work, then you can have a conversation next season. City says Odegaard 3 out of 10 today. I think first half he was our best player, so I'm also taking that into consideration. Martinelli 2 out of 10. Again, first half, I think they were both good. Okay. I think Martinelli was okay in the first half. They were creating chances, Odegaard and Martinelli. They were trying to score. They were getting involved. For second half, they were extremely quiet. So if you're giving Martinelli and Odegaard 3 and 2, then what are you giving Saka and Havertz? So Arsenal play all the best football in the first half. It recently has been looking like that. I don't know why. Jesus 2 out of 10. We got to sell Jesus and Zini. Those players are useless, says a non-gamer. And Martinelli is fast, but don't know what to do with it. It's like a kid driving a Formula One car. I'm still not feeling good, says Ayobami. 4 out of 10 from Cities. Ayobami says, we'll have ourselves to blame. Use your home wisely in the Champions League. I wanted to say that. Thank you very much. You've reminded me. That is what I wanted to say at the beginning of the video. You have to take advantage of your home games. Away games, we struggle in almost every single away game in the Champions League this season. That is why you have to have an advantage, because if, let's say, we don't give the penalty in the first leg and we win that game 2-1 and Bayern Munich beat us 1-0, we go all the way to penalties. You have to win your game, your home game. Your home game, you have to take a W from that, because if you don't, then the pressure is too much. Because even if you had gone through, let's say we went all the way to penalties today and we sneaked a goal in the last minute and then we went to penalties and won, I'd still be like, oh my goodness, we are playing Real Madrid at home and then we have to go to their place after that. We have to win like 2-3 goals at home, because if you go to them, it's going to be tough. But yeah, we have to bounce back, guys. I'm not as mad as I was after Aston Villa game. I didn't expect us to win the Champions League. I'm just sad about how we went out without trying. That is just, yeah, it's just like we say, listen, we know Bayern Munich are better than us in the Champions League. You're not going to try. That's a sad way of going out. But 6 games to go, man. Wolves, Chelsea. Wolves on Saturday, Chelsea on Wednesday. After that, we have Bournemouth at home, right? Or Tottenham away, and then Bournemouth at home, and then Man United away, and then Everton at home. First of all, the home games, I can also carry that to the Premier League. Ayobami says the Champions League, but the home games in the Premier League, 9 points. We should not even be talking about that. That should be 9 points. Everton, Bournemouth, Chelsea, it should be 9 points. Even the Wolves game, you have to win that. Then you find a way to beat Tottenham and Man United. I'm more worried about Tottenham in terms of that. I think Man United are beatable, but Man United are a very fluky team. If you go and you miss chances like we have, Man United are the team that can get 1 goal and then they beat you without doing anything in a game. They're the best at doing that. Mike says, please subscribe and smash the like button. I appreciate it. Joseph says, how many times did Man City go before winning the Champions League? Even if players keep trying by investing in key positions. I agree with you. That's why I've said I'm not mad as I was in the Premier League. There's 2-3 things I'm worried about. The Champions League, I did not expect us to win the Champions League. We probably would have lost to Real Madrid if we went through. That is the truth. But like the way we went out is the sad part. Like we didn't do anything in the second half. But you're right. The Champions League, I don't even know. Are we ever going to win the Champions League? If we ever is going to be, I think if we win the Champions League, we just close it that day. We forget about football and we say we've achieved all we wanted to do. So hard, and every time we are back now and then you want to get in, like, man, how are we even going to pass the quarterfinals? Because next season teams are back. Liverpool is back in the Champions League next season. Juventus will be there. All those guys will be there. Inter Milan will be back there again. You know, all the big boys will be back there again. So you'll have to deal with some of them as well. So it becomes even harder. But you're right. Man City got all the money in 2008, 2009 there, and they had to wait like 15 years to win the Champions League. That is true. And Chelsea as well, they got the Abramovich money and they had to wait all the way to 2012 to get the Champions League, like 9 years later. So it's not easy to win the Champions League. But we have a big opportunity in the Premier League. We have to try and win those 6 games, man. We have to try and win those 6 games, because as I said, you don't want a situation where you look at this in the next 10 years and you're like, yeah, there's a time Arsenal had some incredible players, Saka, Odegaard, Rice, but all of them left and Arsenal never won anything. We don't want that situation. Not even happy this night, because playing good football without any trophies is useless. After gambled our football against Aston Villa because of Bayern, now we are out on the Premier League left, says Alicia. Hard lucky, says Machai. If you gamble in terms of taking out Odegaard and stuff in the Aston Villa game, yeah, I think I mentioned that. I said you can, because some people are like, yeah, I think he rested some players for the Aston Villa for the Bayern Munich game, and I was like, no, you're number 1 in the Premier League. The Champions League is not a guarantee. You have to keep on winning the Premier League games. Forget about the Champions League. If you beat Aston Villa, then focus on the Champions League after that. I foresee our draw at home is a big opportunity missed. At least if we'll beat them like 2 or 3 goals, there's no way through we beat us this night. We need prolific striker. Saka's not playing anything, and Havertz. That chance that Ben White got against Bayern Munich last week to make it 2-0, I think if he scored that, everything would have been different. But then again, you can't blame everyone. Like fast goal, mistake, Raya, Gabriel, Kivio, Saliba giving away the penalty. It's an all-round thing. I don't think I'm going to blame anyone for losing to Bayern Munich. I'd say the second half decisions from Arteta, but in terms of players, yes, I know. Okay, listen, I'm going to recorrect that. I know Havertz and Saka are really quiet today, really terrible. But in terms of Premier League, Champions League, I did not expect them to win. That is what I kind of mean. But I was hoping we'd get in the semi-final and test ourselves against Real Madrid and Man City. But Premier League now, those are the teams you're used to. Last season, we beat Bournemouth at home. We beat Everton at home. We beat Wolves away. We beat Chelsea at home. We beat Tottenham away. We lost to Man United at home, at their place, sorry. So out of those 6 games remaining, we won 5 of them last season. Do that again, and this time beat Man United to make it 6 out of 6. That is what we need to do. If you do that, you're going to win the league. But the problem is that Aston Villa game is, I'm hoping it doesn't hurt us, because even a draw would have been better than a loss, because now you literally have to win every single game. When Odegaard doesn't perform, Saka struggles. I think you're right as well in terms of that. That right side, when Ben White is not there, you can see Saka struggling. When Saka struggles, Odegaard struggles as well. Because when they're hitting all of them, there's usually a connection. Like you see a through pass from Odegaard. Which game was it? I think it is Aston Villa. There's a pass that Odegaard put in between the defenders to Saka. There's a connection there. So if one of them is not playing well and all 3 of them are not playing well, and we really depend on our right side as well. And the problem is, last season, we're not really depending on one side. Martinelli was performing on the other side as well, and this one has been a little bit quiet. And then the goals from Odegaard have kind of dried. Not the goals. Justin scored a lot of goals last season, but they're not scoring. The strikers are not scoring. Let me take a couple more. Man City will drop 4 points. Wow, that's a lot. I don't expect them to drop 4 points. But if Man City drop 4 points and we still don't win the league, then that will really, really hurt. That will be now that will really, really hurt. If Man City drop 4 points and we still don't win the league, then that means we've dropped 2 games as well somewhere. That would be really, really bad. I can understand that Arsenal maybe are not yet built for those Bayern Munich away games and Lens away games, but we've played those Premier League teams a lot of times before. We need to beat all of those teams. We need to win all of our matches if we want to win the PL, because Pep, guys, I agree, man. Pep, guys, yeah, I know. Pep, especially that he's lost today, he's just going to be very motivated to win every single one of those games. Ajami says it's important to keep our focus on winning the Premier League fast. I also think you're right in terms of that. Before setting our sights on the Champions League, after a 20-year gap, our priority should be to bring home the Premier League. I do think that as well. If you win the Premier League, then if you take that 20-year mark away, and then you know that this team has won something, I also feel like it's a domino effect. If you win one trophy, then you can start winning others. But if you finish 2-3 seasons without, then you start doubting yourselves. You start getting to April and you're like, oh my goodness, we did this a year ago. We did this last season. You start doubting yourself. But if you win the Premier League, then coming back to next season, going into the transfer, it just changes everything. Going into the transfer market, more players want to come. You know which positions to sort out. Players want to do this and that, all that. But if you don't win a trophy for 2-3 seasons, then yeah, it starts having that mentality of, man, are we really going to win anything? Man City will drop that one. It's in HJ, how are you, man? He says time for Arteta to go now. He's taken us as far as he could. He looked clueless. We'll talk about that after we play Everton at the end of the season. We are 2 points behind Man City. The season is not over. As I said, if Man City win all of their games and we win all of our games and it ends there, fine. But what I don't want to do is lose every single game. I've foreseen Liverpool to drop points. I'm not even really worried about Liverpool. My worry is Man City. If you look at previous video, I mentioned it, but We let Aston Villa beat us. Fair enough. I appreciate you guys watching. HJ, in terms of the Champions League, I don't think we can talk about it in the Champions League. I don't think many people expected us to win the Champions League anyway. Premier League as well. Like, I'm now looking at the Premier League and like, please, man, this is the second season we're competing there. Let's try and win those 6 games. Champions League, I did not expect us to win the Champions League, but we've definitely gone out kind of sad without doing anything in the whole second half. Let's see. The likes of Tuchel definitely have more experience and all that in terms of those competitions they've won it before. But let's see what happens. Man, let's see what happens. Just beat Wolves first. Just go with what we want. Whether it's Jorginho Partey in midfield, let's not take Havertz back to midfield and all that. Let's see how it works out though. But another sad day. I was hoping we wouldn't have a week like Liverpool had, because Liverpool had that week where they lost 2 games and drew last week. I was hoping we wouldn't have a week like that. We've lost 2 games. Let's hope Wolves is not a third, because if you lose against Wolves, then it's over. We play Wolves and Chelsea before Man City play next. So if you win those 2 games, you are going to be 4 points, right? 4 points ahead of Man City. They'll have a couple of games in hand, but you're going to be 4 points ahead of them, and you apply pressure on them. That is fine. But if you don't want a situation where Man City is playing next week, we've played 34 games and they've played 32, and they're still ahead of us. That would be a nightmare. So let's see how it works out next week. Let's see. Let's take last comment from HJ. Yes, of course, dependent on PL, but we matched Bayern man for man in that tie. We had the opportunity to win the tie, and we failed. The way we lost their hearts because it was there for the taking. Yeah, second half was atrocious, man. That second half was atrocious. The blame for the Champions League, I think it's mixed. I did not have a problem with the starting lineup. I think we played very well in the first leg, in the first half. And then we made mistakes today. I didn't think we played well in the second half. First half was okay. We controlled the game. So the control is there. You can tell that we are not like scared of Bayern Munich and all that. But decisions in the second half, a bit too poor. But in the Premier League now, we don't have those excuses, because those are teams we play every single season. We are not supposed to be scared of Bournemouth and Everton and Wolves and all those teams. Go and win your 6 games. You have to do your job fast. There's no need of praying that Man City drop points to Brighton if we can't win our game. It's pointless. Win your game fast, and then we can start praying about the other teams. I'm very happy that we're playing 2 games before Man City play. I usually prefer playing fast. Do your job fast and then pray for other teams to win. You don't lose and then pray for other teams to help you out. No. Tough day, guys. Tough day. We are out of the Champions League. It's going to be Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, and then PSG, Dortmund. That will be the semi-final. I think many people predicted it to be Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, and Man City, Arsenal, I think, and all 4 of them are out. Champions League is tough, man. Champions League is tough. I don't know when the hell we are ever going to win this trophy. We've tried all. I was looking at the list of teams that have won the Champions League from 1950, and I could not believe we've not won. Like, all those years, man. 70 years without winning one, and we've only gotten to 1 Champions League final. That is crazy. If you look at all the other teams, Inter Milan have gotten to like 8 finals, Man United have gotten to like 8, 9 finals, Chelsea have been there several times, a lot of finals, Liverpool have been there, AC Milan have been there, Juventus have been there, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Atletico, but we've just been in the final one. So I don't know, man. Let's focus on the Premier League. The Premier League, we should be winning. We should be winning that. You should try and win that. Win your 6 games. If Man City beat us by 2 points, fair enough, but we don't capitulate. Don't do that. And then on top of that, we also have every single player fit. So in terms of that, it has worked out perfectly for us. Timber is about to come back as well. So we don't have excuses in terms of squad. We have players there. We have to win those games. 6 games to go. Players don't get tired in terms of that. We'll have a week break somewhere as well. I don't know. Go to Dubai probably for the next 2 days and come back. I don't know. But I appreciate you guys watching. Have a good night. I'll catch up with you guys tomorrow.